Just got back from a job interview, so if I look uncharacteristically like I had my life together, that's why. I even got the let's do some business folded cuffs going on. So, all right, today um we're gonna do pretty whatever, blase, kind of casual one. Happy New Year and all that. Mm. And also my house has no water, so there's gonna be a quick one so I can get out of here. It's quite depressing to be here. Um, but yeah, let's get into it. This is going to be a defensive maneuvers tier list. So, what defensive actions are the swaggiest? What's the most fun to watch? All that kind of stuff. It's not really going to be based on usefulness per se. I mean, that'll factor in a little bit, but it's just going to be a pretty um, opinionated list of what I think is cool, as these things usually are. So let's start with the parries. So we'll go in ascending order. So starting with parry one. So this is kind of outside the usual standard like parry that you learn. You usually learn three, four, five to start off with. Um, oh, delightful. But one is over here, right? So it's not used that much, but it kind of covers the same as four, but it's like your wrist is out of the way. So if someone comes up like from the low line, you have a higher chance of blocking here. Pretty situational. I would say that you see it used a lot more at the higher level, just because it's a good mix up from just a standard four. If you see it in intermediate to beginner saber, it's usually kind of like a flashy, like show off action. There's this guy I used to fence with from UC San Diego. I'd be marching on him, and then he would just stop like in the middle of my march, and then just go one, and like my brain would like fry itself, and I would just be like, yeah, sure, one. It was horribly disheartening, but it was really fun to see him do it to other people. Here it is. Okay, so this is Preem, as the Euros will call it. This is, in my opinion, the most iconic parry one I've ever seen. Super sick backline, classic Aaron Salagi shit. Let's see. Boom. Right. Buggered it. So he's managing distance very well here, harassing constantly and staying kind of out of attack distance. Boom. Doesn't get cleaner than that. And it's just like, God, it is such a committal action. It's just like so sick. Boom. I love that his specifically like it kind of is like a sweeping one, so it covers a lot more distance or a lot more target area. Um, should you tell like every fencer, oh, incorporate one into your repertoire? Maybe not, but it's like super cool. That one of the only parries that I will probably put in the your your tier, which is the best one. All right, parry two. So this one is basically you're up here, more often coming to it from a third position, and then you just drop. I'm gonna hit everything on my desk. Um, yeah, you just drop the hand, parry two. And it is meant to cover like more often than not a low line attack coming out of the box. I think it's one of the cooler base parries, especially like your riposte options coming off of it. They kind of bounce off the blade and can come straight back into the cheek. I think it's quite disrespectful. Um, but it's not gonna make me lose my mind every time I see it, right? But it's like it's up there. I almost want to put it in the your category, but I'll save that for other stuff. I don't want to oversaturate it too much. That one's gonna be lots of flash. Salagi's another person who's just always like boom, low line too. High level saber, like I said earlier, tends to take place a lot in the low line. It's just easier to get to. You can make smaller adjustments, and it's a lot more punishing to defend against. So let's see. Parry three. It's like I guess it's like if you get parry three, like you're not cool. It's like, and you could make the argument. It's like, oh well, like parries can't be like cooler than each other because they all serve like a specific purpose of blocking a certain line. And yeah, like that's true. Like every parry has its place, but like three is just so nothing. It's like more often than not, it's just kind of a symptom of your opponent like running into your guard, like thinking like you were gonna bite on like a feint or something, and then you're just like, oh, boom, done. That shit has me snoozing, so that's where it goes. It is the blandest parry in my opinion. So it's not like you're gonna make me barf, or like anything like that. But it's just like kind of uninteresting. But yeah, has its place. If they're going to third, it's like, where else are you gonna go? Or what else are you gonna do? I just got the whole tea bag in my mouth. Gross. All right, parry four. Parry three's much cooler, much saucier cousin, right? So in the same line, or not line, same plane, right? Where it's like coming across the body here, but just the fact that like you're rolling the fingers and like you're making this very eye-catchy movement of like, ooh, crossing the body to meet the blade. That makes it really cool. I really like close distance, like step in parry fours. I think those are really fun. This is the coolest parry four I've ever seen. Good old bear there, birder, however you say it. Super iconic clip. Actually, let me just start from the beginning. I love this little like hand motion she makes. She loses the box and she's like, it's quite funny. I had a kick out of it every time. Boom, loses it. Ugh. Oh, that's not what I wanted. She got stunned on in that one. Is this one? Yeah, she's like, oh, am I just looking at the wrong? Yeah, she's just getting clowned on in this one. That sucks. Where you at? Where's the clip I want? All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, loses the middle.
Oh my god.
Gets frustrated. Yep. Yep. Oh! Splits to parry four. Like, deflex. Yes, sir. Ma'am, in this case. But yeah, that's one of my favorite clips of all time. Just so much swag, so much steez. That is like the cooler upper echelon of like what a parry four could be, right? But it's like the average parry four is like be like, you know. So it's like it's okay. I wouldn't say it has lots of flash. Not quite snoozing on it either. It's probably gonna go at the bottom of lots of flash. Moving on to five, my personal favorite of just the base parries in general. You look like a fucking pirate. It's just sick. It's like, and your riposte options. It's like so much of what makes a parry cool is how cool the riposte option is, right? So it's like five. You can come over the top, just boom, straight to the head, classic. Or you could even go boom here, drop the hand, and kind of hit low and there three, So good option. You could even drop here and go to belly cut or banderole cut, whatever you wanna do. There's just a lot of options from there. And it's a very strong, dynamic looking position, right? It's like when you take five, it's like it's very dominant. It's like I'm in five. It's a lot of this is gonna be some Daryl Homer clips, but um or yeah, right here. This is an excellent five. Not this one. Boom! It's like, oh my God, dude. Just like the amount of force he's coming down afterwards, it's like there's just so much confidence and power like in a parry five. It's fantastic. Boom! Just send that 2-ton hammer down. So sick. Five okay, five goes in the your category, right below the one. And it is almost like maybe it should even go higher. I mean, it's more common for sure. Maybe that's kind of what keeps it below one. But yes, that is just mwah, chef's kiss. Six. Some kid tried to convince me in like my second or third year of fencing, right? He came onto the team and he was like, "Oh, like I incorporate a lot of six," and I was like, "What's six? I've never heard of six." And it's more of like I think I've heard it talked about more as like a coaching parry or like a lesson giving parry to like open up certain lines and stuff. But Six is here. So it's like you just take five and then rotate the hand across the body. And it's kind of stinks of Hema, if you ask me. But you're here, right? And then he's like, oh yeah. And from here, the riposte is just like turning or like rotating the point like into the chest or like into the mask or something. And I don't think I've ever seen something more disgusting in my life. If you take six, re-examine yourself and your fencing. Yeah. Seven, swagalicious. Seven is three's evil, alter ego, I guess. So from here, there's three. You go up and over behind the back, and this is seven, right? So covers a more it's a more dubious parry for sure than like your average three. But if you get this, it's like look at what your post is. From here, boom, just like fulcrum to mask. And it's ridiculous, right? And it's like I've me and my homies have like a kind of an unspoken tradition to try to get a parry seven on each other once per practice. But um it's a fairly ridiculous parry. 100% kind of like a show off flash move. Um, and it's like it's not if I see someone do it or I see a clip of someone get it, I'm not like, oh yeah, parry seven. I'm like, ooh, you devious little dude, you funny bunny, It's like, like that's in poor taste, Um, so I don't want to give it the year because I'm never like proud of someone who does that. I'm just like, ooh, you're a demon, you're a little trickster, you. So I'll put it into lots of flash. Um, it's not as cool as a well executed post distance parry too. So I'm gonna say it goes firmly in the middle there. All right, so that is our numbered parries, and now we get into the more devious stuff, right? The more eccentric defensive options available to you. So let's see. First up is a beat attack, right? So beats on defense are pretty safe, as long as you're not stepping in, right? It's like you can fish for quite a few beats and not really get like punished that hard off of it, right? Because it's like with the correct distance, you know, a missed beat is like nothing because all that you're doing is giving the arm a little bit. So unless they're like primed to just boom slap you on the wrist like right as you go in, it's pretty safe. Where a lot of people get into trouble, I think, is that they want to step in, even like with the front foot a little too far, and then their body and their torso starts coming forward. And then when they miss the beat, it's like you just take a step and you're there. Boom, easy punish, right? Um, when you do get them, they are cool, especially if it's like a circular beat like into the low line, like if the opponent's like preparing low, kind of like in a preparatory five position down here, and then you scoop up that blade with like a nice circular beat. That's really swag. Um, where you can get into trouble and stuff is that if the opponent, right, if offense is making kind of a circular motion as well, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna say, oh, two meetings of the blade, priority to offense. So you can get into a bit of trouble with that. They're fancy. They're cool. I love blade actions, but I should have made another category, perhaps. Perhaps I will call an audible right now. Um, 1 second. Not a row above. Yes. And this one we'll call this, what shall we call this? Mm, standard ducks. Beats are like, they can be cool. They're not gonna blow my mind when people get them, but they are exciting to pull off as defense. So I wouldn't say they're incredibly flashy or anything though, per se. All right, what's next? Closeout counterattacks. So two types of counterattacks, generally speaking, right? There's an exit counterattack, which is kind of like a skyhook, where it's like you're drawing distance, tagging the opponent, and then you're just burning the hell out of there. You're getting out of dodge. Closeouts are much cooler, in my opinion, because you're either stopping or stepping into their tempo, disrupting it, getting your touch off, and then just like, like, you're I just have a good example of it. It's got the right amount of disrespect in there for me. Well, we'll go back to our boys, Aaron Sloggy. Slot. So yeah, this kind of like another one of Sloggy's like bread, oh my God, bread and butter things, right? Harassing, keeping the point out, and then as soon as they accelerate, boom, tag them, close out. And I love this kind of motion of poking, counterattacking to the mask, and then a deep run in four to cover where they would finish with the counterattack. And then a lot of times, it's like you'll run by your opponent too. I think it's just very stylish. It looks very suave, and especially the way he does it. Anything Slaggy does is amazing, right? But mm, so aesthetically pleasing. Bop, done. And just it always leads to like some casual walkaway where it's like, yeah, you know, sorry. And it's a really like mentally damaging thing for your opponent too, because it's like they were just gearing up to like, all right, boom, I'm gonna accelerate and just like pound this dude. And then you're just like, actually, you're not. Sorry. That kind of thing. So I think it is incredibly you're above a five for sure. Let's see. Next is distance parry. So, parry with the blade. But a lot of times you'll hear coaches or other people talking about distance parries or parrying with your legs, right? So the way it was taught to me is that your blade, right? Your parry position with your blade, that's your insurance. But your real parry should be with the feet. Much better to make them miss, right? Maybe you can't score off that right away. But if you pull at the exact correct distance that they just kind of like fall short of your lame, you can just kind of boom, bap them like right after that. Um, it's pretty, it is pretty, and I think when you see a pretty like precisely pulled distance parry that shows like a really good mastery of tempo and distance, it's not the flashiest thing though. Um, it does make the other person look stupid, which I enjoy. So I'll put that in standard stuffs. I think it's cooler than a beat. I will say that. So put that right above there. Uh, and so the kind of poster boy, poster person for exit counterattacks is the skyhook, right? So actually, let me just pull one of these up. Just ludicrous shit, right? And it is like it is so cool because it is such a committal action, right? Where it's like you are counterattacking and then pulling, right? Removing the arm out of target area. So it's like you leave yourself wide open as you're running back. And if you miss that, it's like, dude, you're done. Like there's no way you're getting a reprise off that. Probably not even a parry, right? The other person's just gonna run you over. So I'm just a big fan of like high risk, like committal actions. I think they're cool. Oh, poor
So
boy.
she's come out.
Mm,
What a showboating maneuver to
delicious.
finish off the Skyhook.
And like at 15, like that's devious. Mm, right here. Oh my gosh. And it's like you're hitting, more often than not, um, you're hitting a very small target, right? The wrist, the end of the wrist right here. So it's a high speed maneuver, very high intensity, very high committal, like there's a lot of room to get punished off of it. And it's just like demands quite a bit of precision and forethought. It's more often than not premeditated. No one's throwing a sky hook like just off rip. So I think it's incredibly cool. Definitely. Oh, I love a good closeout though. We're gonna have to rearrange some of this. Let's see. One is cool, but it's not as cool as a counterattack. Actually, it is. Skyhooks specifically will be above a closeout, but in general, I think closeout counterattacks are much cooler than exit counterattacks, if that makes any sense. All right. Let's see. Jump two. So we're getting to the end of things here. But jump two, probably the most just like fuck you to the to the other person that you can do. It's like it is insane how like feel bad it is to get jump parried too, and then vice versa. It is just an insane hit of dopamine to pull one off. So let's watch my boy Daryl Homer at 14-14 just do some absolutely diabolical shit.
Semi-final of the men's sabre
Great
individual at the
touch.
World Championships here in Moscow. Parry riposte from Daryl Homer. What
Love
a
the parry
beauty. He did it
riposte.
all fight, and he used it
I
to
love that
win
head bob.
and go for gold later on tonight. Well, he
Yuri's
died
just
at
like, God
14
damn
and
it,
used
Daryl.
it. Final
Giving me a heart
of the
attack.
men's sabre individual at the World Championships
Let's
here in
watch that again.
Moscow.
Boom!
Riposte from
And it's
Daryl
just the other
Homer.
guy
What a
just knows.
beauty.
It's
He did
like,
it
ah,
all
like
fight,
you got
and he
styled
used
on
it to win and go
on
for
on
gold
like a
later on
huge
tonight.
world
Well, died
stage.
at
Like
14.
just
Referee
feels
has chosen
bad.
to
Yeah, rub that head, dude. It's like shit.
He's not
Poor
coming back
guy.
with any other decision than
Do they
parry
give you a
riposte.
slow-mo replay?
Jabari
They have to.
absolutely
They
fired
have to. They
Braham,
must. Yep.
blocking out the Romanians of
Oh
Tim.
my God,
Just
dude.
absolutely fabulous. And
Such
this
a
is replay
gnarly
of the last
action.
three.
And it's like, oh, it's a wraparound too. It's like, it is pretty cool to like, take the two, bounce off of it, and then come back up to mask. But the wraparound is like, there's an extra sense of swag there. Jump two, uh, one of the coolest things you can do in saber fencing, period. Makes me go, you're every time. That one goes at the top for sure. Alrighty. And then it's stupid cousin Duck Perry 5. So, Daryl is guilty of both of these. Again, this guy loves going for kind of off meta actions at 14-14. I think that's pretty smart because I think in general, most people are expecting you to push hard with a simple attack or try to step in and pull distance. So, doing kind of wonkier stuff like a jump two or duck five or whatever, like it works out more often than it would in other contexts. This does not make duck five cool at all, in my opinion. Let's watch. Poor Canada. And it's like, if you hear the yells there, like these aren't yells of like, let's go, I'm sure they are, right? But it's like a lot of it is like, oh no, like, why would you do that to him? Like, it is just such a diabolical and like disgusting action to pull off. It's like jump two is cool because it's like you're taking flight and it's this like very picturesque like there's no grace in a duck five. Like you are just clicking your heels together, dropping and hoping for the best. Is this touch impressive? Yes. Like the guts to go for that. And also it's like the thing about duck five is it is more committal in a way than a jump parry two because it's like you can feasibly it doesn't happen a lot but you can miss a jump two and get away with it if the other person is kind of watching and a little trepidatious going slow off the line because you land on your feet and you're like okay you just mowed over the way there's no coming back from a duck five like if you miss that it's like you are a sitting duck quack like you're dead so yeah is this a cool touch? Maybe, but it's like I hate with a seething passion. Like I despise Duck Five. I don't think it's that cool. I like that it's quite cheeky, but it makes me want to throw up every time I see it, and especially when it gets done to me. It makes me want to cry and quit fencing and pee my pants. So yeah. All right. Last but most assuredly not least, the big boys, point in line. Point in line is my favorite action in Saber, period. And this is because it's like what when you think about like fencing or Saber fencing, it's like you think about speed, you think about decisiveness and aggression, right? The odds are heavily stacked against you if you find yourself on defense, right? It's something like at the high level, it's like you could be landing 80% of your attacks where you have right of way because it's just so easy, right? Whole blade's hot. Um, but point in line is like the ultimate like antithesis to this, right? Where it's like more often than not, you are planting your feet. You can move with point in line. You can do anything you want with point in line, essentially, as long as like the line remains like pointy, uh, straight from the shoulder traditionally. Um, and it's like you are planting your feet and you're just like standing in like the face of like oncoming death. Like it's just super swag. I don't think there's anything cooler. And it also is like it serves as a great tool to get in the opponent's head too, right? Because it's like there's a lot of uncertainties that you have to deal with on defense, right? You're trying to consider when are they going to accelerate? What line are they going to finish to? Is this a feint? You know, where on the strip are they going to finish? So it's a lot of things to consider, and you actually take a lot of power away from your opponent because by stopping or standing right with point in line, you are essentially guaranteeing one maybe two things, right? You are guaranteeing that they will make an action on your blade, right? If point and line is established at the correct distance and tempo before their attack has started, they have to displace or derobe. Or no, I guess you'd be derobing. They have to make some sort of prise de fer on your blade, right? So you are guaranteeing an attempted blade contact at a set point of your choosing, right? So already like you're removing quite a bit of the guesswork. And then more often than not, people will, take your blade and immediately try to finish the attack. So if you're lucky, you are not only guaranteeing a meeting of the blades or an attempted meeting of the blades, but you're also deciding where the action is going to end for them. You're taking away a lot of their power. Um, so yeah, and a lot of like the pressure that they're capable of kind of putting on you on offense. And there's a lot of cool things that you can pull off with point in line, right? It's like the simple disengage, super sweet. I mean, that just shows like you have an incredible sense of like where the blade is going to be and just being able to make like a small disengagement to hit chest or something super cool. But you can also set up some really gnarly like second intention stuff off that, right? They beat if you're really quick, you counter beat, right? And then you go. Or my favorite, they beat and then you take parry or post. It's like you let them have the blade so that way they feel self-assured into finishing the attack and then you close with like a quick four or like a two or whatever they're finishing, right? So yeah, point in line stuff. I'm an absolute sucker for it. I know I said that jump two is the coolest thing you can do in Saber. I'm a dirty, dirty liar. So here we are. Mwah. I love it. And then I didn't have a picture for this one, but whatever this bullshit is, we've all seen this one, right? But wrap around four, ridiculous. And I blame the guy on the left for dropping his hand. Maybe he could have counter parried if you weren't so lazy. Hmm. Hmm. Whatever this is, it goes below the projectile vomits here. Makes me want to gouge my eyes out with a spoon. So that'll do it for now. Hopefully, I have water in this house soon. I would like to take a shower. I have a tournament tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to grab some more footage, and then hopefully I'll be able to do another self-analysis video. And then yeah, we'll see from there. Happy New Year, and whatever your fencing goals are for this year, I hope you put in the work and you're able to accomplish them. So yeah, goodbye.